So are you someone who needs some help? Do you need some support? Why don't you just ask? So why don't you just ask? Are you somebody that really struggles to ask for help and you find it really challenging to ask for help? And like that's what we're going to go through and explore today. Why is it that we find it really challenging to actually ask for help? So if you're on, I would love for you to say hello, send me a heart so that I know that you're there. If you've got any questions as we're going along, please ask. If you have any topics that you would like me to cover, please, I would love for you to comment them below so that I have some material that I can actually, help you specifically with, because that's super important. Alrighty, so hey Emily, how you doing? Nice to see you on. So it's really common practice, and especially as a mum, to actually ask for help. It's something that I think majority of mums, people all over, but majority of mums find it really, really challenging to do. And that's okay, that's normal. However, you need to then ask yourself why. Why is it that you find it challenging to do? Alrighty, and I'm going to be going through today some key reasons that come up regularly through my experience. So my experience with my clients and also my own experiences as to, why we struggle to ask for help. Now, we can go on and go on and go on doing something, doing everything, feeling as if we have to do everything until we get to a point where we are utterly drained, we are totally exhausted, and we then just crash and burn pretty much. Now, I want to help you to avoid getting to that space, alrighty, where you just feel utterly run down, because it's not a nice space to be in. I have been there. I get there where I become very overwhelmed and very, very stressed out, very anxious. And looking back in hindsight, I actually say to myself, wow, I really needed some help. I really needed some support and some guidance. Why didn't I just ask for it when I needed it? Right, and one of the big reasons is our ego mind. So that mind that tells us that we're not good enough, that we're not achieving enough, that mind that wants to keep us exactly where we are. It's telling us that you should be able to do this. You're capable. You're a mum. You should be able to do all of this and get it done. And the society, how we've been brought up, back hundreds of years ago, it took a village to raise a child, and raise a family. However, now, we feel as if we've got to do everything by ourselves, and we help everyone else around us, and we forget to give to us. We forget to give and fill our own cup, where that's actually the most important cup that needs to be filled first. Because if we're not filling our own cup up first, then we find ourselves not being able to give our best to everyone around us. So to our children, to our partner, to our families. And they're the people we want to be giving the best of us to, not simply the rest or what's left of us. Alrighty. So I want to, what actually inspired me to talk about this topic today was over the weekend. So I want to tell you a little story. So my daughter had gone away with my parents, so her grandparents, over the first week of school holidays, for caravanning with my parents. And she actually fell ill. She was having tummy aches, and it got to a point where we had to organize to actually go and pick her up a lot earlier than expected. So we'd rushed out, an emergency trip out to Brookton. So it's about 2 hours inland east from Perth, if you're not sure. drop everything on a Friday, go and get her because the situation had become quite stressful for my daughter and also for my parents. They had other things going on as well. So the stress levels were just getting really high. However, so through that, I was trying to then organize doctor's appointments while we were driving, to get her to a doctor because this had gone on for a couple of days already, and had gotten to kind of breaking point. So I was trying to organize doctor's appointments. There was no reception, where we were driving, or, we were going in and out of reception. We got home, I could get her into a doctor's appointment, but not until, Sunday afternoon at a doctor we'd never heard of before. So, stress levels were starting to get high. We then had, other things that were going on that I was trying to deal with as well, running my business, having the social night that I had planned already for our team on the Friday night. So we had to get back in time for that, which added to the stress as well. And I just found myself getting so overwhelmed, so stressed, so anxious, and finding it really challenging to actually ask somebody for help. And it was because I thought to myself, I'm a capable human being. I'm a single mum. I run a business, I supposedly have my shit together. So why do I need to ask for help? Yet what that actually resulted in is me becoming, extremely tired, extremely exhausted, feeling absolutely drained to the point where I was starting to lose my shit at people around me. The closest people to me, the people that I love the most and care for the most, were bearing the brunt of my bad moods, my stressed out state, all because within me, I was finding it challenging to ask for help. So these are some of the reasons now, that I want to explore a little bit further as to why we find it challenging to ask for help. So, we don't want to be perceived, a lot of the time when we're thinking of asking for help, we don't want to be perceived as being someone that can't do it for ourselves, alrighty, or somebody that can't cope, or somebody that is weak. So we believe in our own mind that asking for help is, coming across to someone else that we can't actually cope with that. And, that's totally understandable. And I can, as I've just told that story, I can totally resonate with that. Because asking for help can actually imply that we're somehow falling short, whether that be in a resource, whether that be time, whether we're falling short, in a different particular area, such as a skill, emotional energy, and what I want you to do in this sense is actually remind yourself and give yourself permission to actually be human. Alrighty, we can't all be amazing at absolutely everything. It's simply not possible. We can be good at a lot of things. However, we always need support. We always need help, and I want you to, as I say, give yourself permission to actually be human. We all need help and support at one point or at one stage, in our life as such. And it's actually the truly successful people and the people that actually achieve the most, achieve all these things that they want to achieve, the people that actually progress further. These are the people that are able to actually recognize that they need help, accept that they need help, and then actually go ahead and ask for it. Alrighty, and remember, asking for help is one of the strongest things that you can do. I believe it's one of the bravest and most courageous things that you can ever do, is actually recognize that, wow, I'm a little bit in over my head here. I really need some help and support, and then actually ask for it. And when you ask for it, actually be willing and be accepting that help in. So actually allow the help to come to you. When you ask for it, ask for it, and be open when you're asking for it. And what I mean by being open is, when someone's giving you help, be open to then receiving it, which, that can also be another challenging thing. So it's a challenge to ask for it, but then it's also a challenge to accept it. So being open about accepting. So actually recognizing it, then accepting it, and then allowing it. So there's three kind of components there of, actually asking and accepting that help, and the people that then overcome these vulnerabilities and, what they believe to be their weaknesses, they're the people, they need the help and support. They recognize that and then they ask for it. Alrighty, so that's a super strong thing to do. Alrighty, so just next time you find yourself holding back from reaching out and asking because you believe that you might be perceived as being weak, remember that all aspects of success actually rely on you. And as I was saying before, you being able to recognize that, you being open to it and accepting it, and then you allowing it to come through to you. It is one of the bravest things that you will ever do. So when you ask for help, remind yourself, I am being brave here. I am being courageous. And that within itself will actually help to empower you to continue to ask for help in the future. Alrighty. So another reason why we may struggle to ask for help is because we've been let down or we've been disappointed before. You think to yourself, well, I asked such and such to help me and they let me down. They belittled me, they made me feel silly. Alrighty. So there's just no point in asking again. Alrighty, so what I want to point out here is don't let your past experience then dictate your future or the future of you asking for help. Alrighty, so it's not going to dictate then your future success. Alrighty, so you may have learnt a painful lesson in the past because you went to someone that didn't actually support you, that didn't actually have your back. They may have made you have that feeling of embarrassment or, belittlement, or you just didn't feel good within yourself by their response or their reaction. Alrighty. So please know that actually asking for help is not the wrong thing to do. You may have just asked the wrong person for help. Alrighty. So there's two distinct separations there. Alrighty. So please don't, because of a past event, please don't believe that will be, the repeat for the future. Alrighty. So, and if it is, then perhaps we need to then look at who we have as the people that we're asking for help and for support. Alrighty. And that's where, your social support circle or your support circle becomes so important. And it really is important. The people that you surround yourself can make the difference between winning or losing. Alrighty, make the difference between achieving something and not achieving something. Are these people around you? Are they supportive of you? Are they accepting? Are they willing to help you? Alrighty, so who you surround yourself is so important. Alrighty, so it's not the act of asking for help that is now don't do it as such. Actually, just make sure the people that you're asking for help are people that you trust and people that want to be there and actually have your back. Alrighty, because that is so important. Alrighty, now number 3 reason as to why we struggle to ask for help. So have you ever had this thought? Everyone else is busy. Everyone else is stressed out. I can see that they're so super busy. I don't want to burden them. I don't want to ask them and put extra work onto their plate. How common is that thought? Alrighty, where we think that by asking for help, we're going to be putting someone else out or we're going to be adding extra stress to them. What I find is those that find it difficult or find it challenging to ask for help are actually the people that are so good at giving the help. Alrighty, so we immerse ourselves in giving the help to everyone else and then think that it's going to be a burden if we then ask for help. Be honest, when we're actually giving out our help, like that makes us feel good. We get something out of that ourselves. We get that feeling of reward, that gratitude type feeling, that warm and fuzzy type of feeling, and think about that. That makes you actually feel really good. So if you're not asking for help, you're actually preventing someone else from having the opportunity to A, help you, but B, feel those really good feelings themselves. Alrighty, and so you're actually withholding them from experiencing the love, the feeling of love that we have when we actually help someone. Alrighty, so we don't want to actually take that opportunity away from somebody else in that sense. And if we think about it in a sense of like when we actually ask for help, or when you're helping someone, in actual fact, like the best way to actually help someone is not to take away their problem or to take away their burden as such. The best way that we can actually help somebody else is actually to give them the empowerment and the support to allow them to solve their own problems and solve their own challenges. So being that person that's there, that's listening, that's supportive, that is actually empowering then that person to be able to solve and overcome their own challenges. Alrighty, so if we can actually think about it in that aspect rather than thinking we're burdening someone or anything like that, or we're, putting extra stress onto their plate. No, what we're actually doing is allowing that person to be that support person, and we're allowing them to actually guide us and maybe give us that one piece of advice that perhaps we just hadn't thought of because we're in a state of feeling so overwhelmed. Because remember, as I mentioned, it's actually about empowering someone else to be able to solve their own problems. Alrighty, so when we go to someone for help, we don't necessarily want someone to solve our problem. A lot of the time we just want someone to listen and to know that someone is there and someone has our back, and to actually then, feel empowered to be able to solve our own problems. Because if we're always looking to run to someone else to actually solve the problem, then we're always going to have the problem and it's always going to appear. The problem is never going to go away. We're just band-aiding it as such, where we actually want to uncover what the underlying cause underneath the problem is to be able to then, reduce or limit or eliminate the actual cause of the problem. Alrighty, and a lot of the time it comes back to the way that we feel about ourselves, and that's why we struggle to actually really ask for help in that sense. Alrighty, so if anything has resonated with you today, I would love for you to send me a heart, hit the thumbs up button. If you have any questions, please post them below. And to the ladies that were watching, thanks so much for joining me. I hope you have an amazing Thursday, and I hope that this video has given you some inspiration as to now pop that ego mind aside and actually go out, recognize that you might need some help, allow it to come in, be open, and accept the help when you ask for it. Alrighty, I hope you have the best day.